activated. If you know your party's 4-digit extension, you may dial it at any time. If you are a distributor or a hobby shop, dial 1. If you wish to place an order or to check on the status of an order, dial 2.
You want to place an order, Jason?
For customer support or warranty information,
no, I did it on the internet.
3.
I'd like a large pizza with
check on a product repair, dial 4.
green peppers.
For accounting or human resources,
Let's just dial this. Let's see.
Please hold on while I try that extension.
Oh. Man, they're really courteous over there.
It's working. Really nice at the front desk.
I know. It's not like real mean or anything.
This is Brad speaking.
Brad.
Yes.
Gotti Jr. here with Jason Ruona. What's up, man?
How are you?
How you doing?
I'm doing quite well.
Thanks for joining us on the podcast here.
Certainly. Never done one of these before.
Oh, really?
So new. I don't know what to do.
Well, you just talk into the telephone. And
I can do that.
Yeah, that's all you got to do.
Sweet.
I handle the rest over here. Hopefully,
oh boy.
Hopefully, all goes well.
We did a little intro, basically just saying Brad Geck from Element RC. But maybe you could explain to us, the whole Team Associated Electrics and kind of working in the new brand with Element and kind of what your position is over there.
Yeah. So I guess we would start with, the kind of the structure. The company itself is AE, is Associated Electrics. Quite surprised by how many people didn't actually know that. But then from there, we become a house of brands. Team Associated would handle the racing. Element RC would handle adventure. Reedy Power would handle electronics. And Factory Team would make everything better. And that's kind of where it stands now. Seems to be a clear fork in the road for people that race versus people that are more adventure-y and trail trucky. So this helps with that break.
Yeah, it makes sense. I mean, over the years, you guys have kind of promoted it or marketed things a little bit differently at times because it was right because you've been Associated Electrics, Team Associated, RC10.com. There's been some variations over the years, right?
Yes. Yeah. And there was little reasons for each one. RC10.com came about because we needed a way to brand a vehicle on TV that was moving quickly with information that you could retain. And Team Associated is pretty long-winded and hard to remember, whereas RC10 is pretty quick. That was the genesis behind the creation of that. That's why there's RC10 headlight buckets on the front of short course trucks and things like that, because that's the prominent spot that you see it on the track and on TV.
Yeah.
And that's why we were there.
You guys put some thought into that.
Actually, we got lucky. We were working with Ricky Johnson, who had that particular spot open. He said, well, you can have the headlight. We're like, well, I guess we can make that work. And we tried to cram Team Associated in the headlight. Couldn't make it work. Went with RC10, and then it kind of became a thing to where all of a sudden RC10 with a red frame was on the headlight of all kinds of trucks everywhere, even RC cars. So
wow,
kind of took on a life of its own.
Yeah,
kind of serendipitous in a way.
There's kind of an initiative there for a while where even the racers were using that on their short courses and truggies and anything that needed headlights. It was like, we might as well tie it into the race scene too, right?
Right. Yeah, so it's pretty cool how that kind of it all worked out. So that was basically came about just as it was a real estate issue.
Wow.
So, kind of explain for the people that don't know, I guess, kind of when you got started at Associated and kind of what your, job responsibility has been there over the years.
Okay. Well, I started in 2001, March of 2001. I started working in the warehouse. I was basically sweeping floors and checking in boxes of plastic that came in from the molder. And everything kind of in between. If you needed a truck unloaded or something like that, I was your guy. And then because I was a racer and working with the parts and stuff in the back, it was kind of a no-brainer that I did quality control. So then I sat with the parts and made sure that they were molded correctly and machined to spec and all that. which moved me into customer service, eventually into LRP, being a specialist for that brand. Kind of stoked the social media fire from there and started working to create that, and then took the position of marketing manager a couple of years back, and that's where I'm at now.
Good. So yeah, I mean, so kind of when you made that transition, when you got in, we'll say inside, and you're doing some of the marketing and social media stuff. What's I know you do a lot of photography type things as well.
Yeah.
How do you think things sort of gravitated towards that direction? Do you think that was something that you kind of liked about certain things, or that was a niche or a hole that you needed to fill with Associated that wasn't at the time?
Honestly, a little bit of both. I have a passion for photography and, capturing the moment, if you will. And I saw that there was a hole in our social media program. We've been around forever, and some of the old world dogs that are in the building didn't quite understand the value of social media at the time. So that took some convincing to show them what the potential was. And they basically said, well, here's the keys. Show us what you're talking about. So that's kind of what I had been trying to do. And over time, they got it too. And then, that's where we're at now.
Here's the keys to the shop. So as you move along, and we're obviously deeper and deeper into racing, over the years, and tell us how this kind of the brand restructuring and kind of getting into the element. How did that kind of start to take place?
Well, I basically went into them. I'm a trail truck guy personally. I stopped racing years ago when I had children and they had no interest in RC cars, so it kind of fell by the wayside for me, them being the priority. But as a modeler from my youth, trail trucks were really interesting to me because I could make them personal. I could really tinker with them. I'm more of a tinkerer. So I went there to them and kind of tried to explain to them the value of this segment. And it was kind of much like the social media thing. It was like, if you think there's value and you can make something of this, and we'd love to hear your ideas. Give us some market research and give us kind of a plan. And I was tasked with that. And so far it seems to be panning out okay.
Yeah. I mean, obviously the fact that you see the necessity to kind of have a separate brand and kind of almost launch a new brand for this type of vehicle or vehicles, it seems to point its way to the fact that it's could be something pretty large.
Absolutely. That was another reason why we had we decided to make another brand versus making an enduro under Team Associated. One thing that I found pretty fast was that racers don't want to hear about beadlock wheels, and trail truck guys don't want to hear about tapered pistons and slipper settings. It's there's a clear fork in the road. And when I would post things, for example, like on our CR12, for example, on our page, it was crickets. You post something racing and it's alive. And it's just because over the years we've set ourselves up as a race team, as a race organization, and subsequently we've pulled together racers. So that to me made it pretty clear. Plus, then it gives us the ability to tell different stories. The story for Team Associated is much different than the story for Element RC. Yeah, it gives us a lot more liberty. It cleans things up.
And you can see, and part of this was you had to essentially build a new or relaunch the website, right?
Yes, that was quite an undertaking as well.
So before you even say anything, what kind of job is this?
It's doing a website.
Yeah, it's gotta be exciting.
Yeah, I know we've done it with J Consoles,
wild.
but I mean, for you guys, it's or anybody that's been in business that long and have that many products.
Ugh.
It's nuts, right?
It's wild. An interesting bit of information, just a small sidetrack here, is I was asking somebody internally to do some data for me, to do some research, and he came back to me with the info. I asked, how many vehicles has Team Associated or Associated Electrics put out since day one?
Uh-oh.
Do you have any guess how many it would be? I was shocked.
I mean, I'm just going to take a complete guess and say...
Yeah, total guess.
Total guess and say 200. 200.
Okay.
Ooh, I was going to say 223.
You guys are pretty close. The Enduro is actually number 408.
Wow.
Well, yeah, we were close.
Yeah, real close.
Yeah,
That's
off.
what I said too. I said, wow, it's got to be, I don't know, 200, 250 pieces. Now it's the RC10 V2, the B2 Basic, the B2 Sport, the B2 Factory Team, all the stuff. But either way, 408 vehicles.
Wow.
Bananas.
Yeah.
That's an interesting fact.
Yeah.
So, we've been around a long time, and we have data for all that stuff and photography for all that stuff and people still asking for parts for RC1s. And so, creating a fairly easy, navigatable site with all that data has been quite an undertaking. We've been working on it for well over a year.
And what I've noticed doing this, when we've done it a couple times is, when you do it, inevitably the last time you did it, you're like, okay, let's take the photos of these products, and then we have a description, and then we have this. And then inevitably when you do it again, you're like, well, let's do the photo again. And then is this description right? Yeah. And then do they all match? And I mean, it is a complete nightmare.
It's a complete nightmare. And then you have to, it goes even deeper than that, because our system, our website it's much more complicated than I would think the typical website is. We have to handle direct purchases from racers, so each individual account and each individual discount structure. And then some people race for Team Associated, some people race for Reedy, some people race for Factory Team. There's going to be ambassadors for Element RC. Each person has their different portal, but all of that uses the same shopping cart. So the background behind this stuff, that was kind of another reason we needed to build a solid umbrella corporation model and for brand. It made the website structure that much smoother.
Yeah.
It also takes us back to where we kind of should have been all along. The company is Associated Electrics, the brands, and then so on. It got a little messed up over time, but I think we've circled back.
Yeah, and like you said, it's important because I think, like you said, you've had over 400 vehicles over a period of time. But I think the other thing that's, because I've sat here and thought about all this kind of stuff, when I see the new website, and then I start, thinking about the things too, and I'm like, there's all these, the industry goes through cycles, and as the manufacturer, you're kind of reacting to these cycles where it's like, first of all, it's like, you got the race cars, then you go to RTR race cars, and then you have these offshoots of race cars that are kind of made out. It's like has some of the parts of a race car, but it's really more of a basher car. And and then it's like you have all these different aspects, but it's kind of follows the trends. And then I think that's where a lot of these things do get mixed up, because you're almost following the trends faster than you can kind of keep the company organized.
Yeah, very much so.
And
our ideas
we have
concepts are out
we have
in
that
front of the
same
company
thing just
for sure.
on a smaller level.
Yeah, we are definitely always out in front of the company, towing the company along. But I think that's what keeps you on the cutting edge. If you wait and you keep the company out front, then you will always be behind.
Yeah.
You have to get out in front and then make sure that the company's in tow.
So, talking a little bit more, we'll talk a little more Element. We're going to talk around a little bit because we'll get you to talk a little bit about the Team Associated stuff too. But kind of get this Element RC stuff out there. Tell us about the truck and the that you just showed, and sort of kind of what went into that, and sort of the process of building and designing this truck, and then kind of getting it out there?
Well, it's been quite a road. It was March of last year. We sat in a conference room and said, well, we're going to call it Element RC, and we're going to do these things, and we're going to make these promises, and we're going to stimulate this market, and how are we going to do it? And we started at that round table talking about a car, and we just released that car as the Enduro just a couple of days ago. So from March of last year until now is how long it took to tell the world that it even existed.
Mm-hmm.
That was quite a road.
Did you have to convince anybody, or was everybody on board?
Oh, for sure.
Yep.
You got to imagine, I'm in a building full of racers.
Right.
So they look at me and they look at a trail truck and they think, but I can walk faster than that. You know?
Yeah.
But for the very first time ever, I had Cliff Lett out at a trail truck event this weekend, and he looked like a kid in a candy shop. It was like Christmas morning, and he completely understood right away. It takes us back to kind of those outdoor RC days where you would charge off your car battery and you'd sit in a folding chair and you spent most of your day talking because you were waiting forever for the battery to charge.
Yeah.
It's a lot more of that, and a lot less of the actual competitiveness of it, which is really refreshing. So yeah, that was in March of last year. Just like I would expect any manufacturer to do, you look at the market, you look at what's there, you look at what they may be doing right or wrong, and then you look at the customer. What do they want? You hope you get it right when you think, what do they need? And then you go to work. We developed a car pretty fast, immediately took it out to rocks and started to try to ruin it. You know?
Well, you should have called me up.
Way to describe it.
I could have product test that for you.
Yeah, right. And then kind of just went from there. And then as we went through different variations of the transmission. The transmission started out kind of simple, and then we had some ideas on how to make it, we went down a different road. That didn't pan out, so I've got various different transmissions here that we've tried. We definitely jumped all over the map. But I think the piece that we announced and we're about to release is quite special. It's innovative, it's easy to drive, it's easy to work on, and it's durable. But more importantly, I think it doesn't break up the aftermarket. We didn't design a vehicle that requires the aftermarket to go back to the drawing board and redo everything. We wanted to come in and play ball. We wanted to come in and stimulate versus trying to rewrite. I don't think that's a good idea. They had already created something special. The aftermarket was huge, and we just wanted to play, like I said. So that was really, it was a bit difficult to create something that could use most of the parts that exist, but still be something new and special. So honestly, our engineer, Aaron Lane, I think he nailed it. It's I've driven every trail truck on the planet that's currently available. Is without question the best trail truck I've ever driven. And obviously I have a biased opinion, but it is really good. Yeah, I'm proud of it.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, is it, as you're getting closer here, I mean, like you said, I mean, if it's a year and a half run getting this brand and getting things going, it's got to be a big relief to kind of be able to show something and then get get Cliff out at an event to sort of get some approval on this thing, right?
Yeah, that's exactly it. Yeah, exactly. Okay, so how did we? Not only did ask? I remember asking him specifically. Not only how did we do, but what do you think? And there was a good 10, 12-second pause of just kind of staring up at the sky to formulate an answer. There was so much to take in. It was definitely, he is a very fatherly-like figure here, so to have him say, you guys did it well, this is awesome, I'm excited, feels good.
Yeah.
It's hard to impress a world
champ. Could definitely. Yeah, it's hard to impress one of the old guys, right?
Yeah, they've been doing it forever.
Mm-hmm.
And then we also take a big risk, you know. We have a bread and butter, and we've refined the system. And then for me to say, hey, give me this chunk of capital, and let me go out and on this adventure, and then cap that with a trust me. It's got to be a pretty tough thing.
Yeah.
Thankfully, he allowed me to do it, allowed the team to do it, and hopefully we didn't let him down.
Yeah, I mean, what I see is, you can see a ton of effort and kind of passion going in here, and it's kind of spilling out online through social media. You can see that you have some guys now that are there at the shop or involved with Associated Electrics that are passionate about these trucks, right?
Yes. Absolutely. Yeah. The good thing is most of them in here already kind of were. You know, everybody's kind of mountain biker, camper, 4x4 on the weekend type people. They just hadn't done it in RC yet.
Yeah. And I think that's probably a huge advantage when you're kind of getting into this in long term, that you can have some more people that maybe used to be active in RC but now have a reason to kind of get back out and want to be active again, right?
Yeah. That is one thing that we have that's a very big advantage, is we have that legacy. I mean, if I had $1 for everybody who said, I used to have one of those gold pan cars, boy, I'd be living on the beach somewhere, you know?
Yeah.
So yeah, it's good. And there's a lot of that coming back right now. When the transmission in this new vehicle we've dubbed the Stealth X. So when people are revisiting this Stealth name, they're like, wow, Stealth, but they don't realize is that that's the most copied transmission in the history of the sport. That 3-gear transmission is used across the board on all kinds of different vehicles in small variations, but it all started with the Stealth. Even the modern transmission that's in a modern day most popular trail truck is a 3-gear Stealth transmission.
Yeah,
so it's kind of cool to be able to revisit Stealth and turn it on its ear. We rewrote Stealth with this transmission. It's really the heart of the vehicle. And it's simple and innovative at the same time, which is always a hard thing to hit.
So how about a couple of, besides the transmission, talk a little bit about, the direction you went with the body on this vehicle and then the wheels and tires, because that's obviously maybe one of the biggest things, right? You got to have the right certainly. Look and the right size. Maybe
no
go down that
open a book
road.
that has a boring
Tell us
cover,
a little
right?
bit about.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So okay. Well, again, we looked at the market. What is the market missing? For me, it was missing a late '80s Dodge. It was also missing. It was a bummer that when you had a trail truck or something to that effect, you got to either peel the tires off the wheels or you got to just throw out the system, right? And then you got to get a different wheel and you got to get a different tire, and you just started and you're already 80, 90, 100 in the hole. And that's cool and all, and that's a great way to personalize. I'm all for it. But it'd be nice if you could work with what you had a little bit first and kind of get your feet wet. So that dictated the beadlock. We're going that way no matter what. We want this to be a utility piece. And then you look at the beadlock and it's like, okay, well, there is a popular hub on the market called an SLW that's used regularly by people all over the map. Let's put that hub on the back. Okay, so then we offer that utility. So again, stimulating the aftermarket. The tire size, excuse me, is pretty popular and very regular for the trail truck scene. That was kind of already written. We have a relationship with both Method and General Tire. Again, that was just kind of way it worked out. General Tire is missing from the market. No one had made a General Tire yet. So again, it's just kind of serendipitous. It just worked out that way. We were able to work with a really good compound, and the tire came out really well. So we're proud of that. And then that was looking at the car, the body. A licensed body comes with cost. And inevitably, that cost is always passed to the customer. The manufacturer is not going to keep that cost to themselves and just eat it. It's never going to happen. So, well, why burden the customer with that cost when they're typically going to pull the body off and pick up something from J Concepts or from Proline or somebody else anyway? So let's make something that looks really cool, of the era, make it two-piece so it's got utility. You can put your cage on the back, or you could do this, that, or the other thing, and just leave it open. So that's what we did. Made a truck that looks kind of 80s Dodge, but a lot of people see other things in it. They see kind of Ford Ranger. I've heard people say GMC. So that's good. That's why we went non-licensed. Is basically so that we didn't burden the customer with cost.
Yeah.
If you look at a vehicle, a typical trail truck that has a license something, it's going to be $50, $60, $70 more retail, and that's simply because of the license.
Wow.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's one of the things that we didn't want to do. We didn't want to burden the customer. Again, those licensed products already exist from companies like J Concepts.
And then obviously you gotta, and then the body itself, it does have some kind of crossover appeal anyway, and it still looks attractive, and it kind of has the look there already, right?
Yeah. Yep. It's a truck that doesn't really exist. It was kind of modeled after a late 80s Power Wagon or Dodge Ram W150, I guess you could say. But they never made this particular vehicle in an extra cab short bed. The extra cab was only made in the long bed. The short bed was only made in a standard cab, so it was kind of a mix of vehicles to give us our right proportion. I like it. I think it came out pretty darn good for being non-licensed.
Yeah, I think it looks good. So as far as this, the whole package unit coming together, is this is an assembled kit first out, or?
Yes, this will be a full ready to run first.
Okay, so the first one is a ready to run, and it's a website price $350, right? Is that what it is?
Yes. Yep, $349.99.
Yeah, I mean, when you look at the price, I mean, the price seems very reasonable. Compared with, like you said, with what's out there, and it seems like you're getting a real nice product there.
Yeah. We tried to include some of the upgrades that are typically purchased right away, steel links or metal links, beadlock wheels, good tires, two-piece body, LEDs. We tried to give you all of that stuff. And quite honestly, by not doing a licensed body, we then afford those liberties.
Yeah. Yeah, and it looks good. And so how soon are we looking at this guy coming in?
It's en route to us now. They're only a couple weeks away. I'm not going to say 2 weeks.
Yeah.
But they're a couple weeks away.
Yeah. The 2 week joke is just being in the business. It's definitely old, isn't it?
Yeah, and it is what it is. It just makes me laugh. Every time I hear it, I picture Tom Hanks from The Money Pit. How long to finish the whole house? 2 weeks. It's been 3 months. They said it would take 2 weeks. So it is what it is. We never want to miss a date. If we give a date, that's the day we want to hit. But there are so many variables that you're fully aware of with customs and manufacturing and changes and blah, blah, blah. So,
I notice a lot of cool things, when you follow the page. Obviously I follow the pages right away between Facebook, Instagram. There's a couple of groups that started right away. You guys probably started one, and then other ones just kind of pop up at the same time. But you guys got some kits out there, or some vehicles out to different YouTube personalities and some ambassadors. And what has that process been like, kind of getting that stuff out early and trying to get that brand in the market where people can see it before you actually have the product, I guess?
Well, I'm quite familiar with the concept of getting the cars out. I basically used our racing model. We do this all the time. These racers throughout the globe have these cars ahead of people, and that's how we test, and that's how we pool data. So we were very familiar with that process. The hardest part was involving people that we didn't really know, like we know racers, like we know our team, and giving them information that not even everybody in the building was aware of. So that was a bit nerve-wracking. As long as I've been here, 19 years now, I don't think I've ever seen a secret this well kept.
Me either.
Usually there's some sort of leak, some sort of something, some sort of Facebook post, some sort of my buddy said that.
Mm-hmm.
This one we're pretty proud of. This one we were able to keep pretty close to the chest.
It didn't get out of Area 51.
It was not easy to do. We have a 2-story building here, and to go from upstairs where we are downstairs, we have to go to the lobby. So you'd have to phone downstairs ahead of time. Anybody there? Before you come down we didn't wear the apparel that was here ahead of time. You have to tell people ahead of time that are manufacturing your product what the name is and what that, But let's just say, for example, the people that make our pit mat, these are some of our racers too. So we have to tell them about the brand they're going to make this product. They know ahead of time now. So there's all these lines that are out in the water, and you got to not have them cross over, and you got to be careful. And we're very fortunate to have some really great partners, though, and it all worked out great.
Yeah, I mean, from my standpoint, I hadn't heard of the name, or like you said, it was very well kept, and probably definitely one of the better releases that the company has done, definitely in my opinion.
We're very proud of this one. I would say the second probably would be B6. When we showed up in Europe, 6 cars, that was pretty fun. That was a really good time.
Mm-hmm.
This definitely rivals that.
That was a good one too.
Yeah, those two were quite fun.
So if we're a couple weeks away, let's say
2 weeks,
couple weeks away,
2 weeks,
and then of course, the guys are gonna get this thing, the market, and ship out to normal distribution, dealers, customers. I saw a couple things that are kind of unique about on one of the videos where the box kind of is like a fold-out mini garage, right?
Yeah, in fact, our entire teasing campaign that you saw where the car was being built in the garage, that was all being built in the box.
Right. Yeah. So, I mean, that was definitely cool, very unique, and seemed like it got a lot of people interested. And I guess one of the things I was going to ask is, did anybody ask to get your garage stuff before the truck?
Yes, because I also one of the ways I pooled data. One of the ways I was checking everybody out and seeing what they were interested in was I created my own trail trucking Instagram page called Gecko Trails, and in there I would try different photo styles, different posting styles, different wording styles to see what everybody was into, and then I used that information with Element. So that learning curve was quite fun. This has been a pretty interesting experience. It's definitely a lot different than the racing thing. Yeah,
I mean, you kind of develop this over the years, this style with the race cars and how they release and getting them out. And over the years, I think, obviously when my racing heyday it was a new car was, it didn't happen very often. It was always really big news and a really big thing. But as the years kind of go by, we're releasing new cars more often. So the shine kind of starts to wear off of having a new car, because everyone's like, well, there's a new car every 2 years, or there's a new car every year, or if you combine the whole industry, there's a new car every couple months, right?
Yeah. Well, I would typically refer to that as the Amazon Prime mentality.
Mm-hmm.
I want it today. I want it right now.
Yeah. And
that's the thing about race cars is a B6.1 is really just an RC10 refined. The growth of the car never ever stops. When we release a car, we're already on to the next one. We basically have to grab engineering at snippets of time and say, okay, right here, this is when we're going to announce it. And then we keep going and we keep progressing. It never really stops. And then the market started putting the year on some model names and stuff like that. And it's not something we prefer. We would absolutely not like to go down that road. But it's the ball field that we play in now.
Okay, hold on. Did you send it over to him?
Yeah, more time.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. Good morning.
Yeah. Still trying to work over here, too.
Yeah.
You know how it goes. Yeah, so, I mean, like you said, that stuff, we wish it didn't develop as fast, but that's the market now, and things are moving along. So I guess that brings us to a team associated thing is we got the B74, right?
Yep.
You want to talk a little bit about that project and kind of where it's going and then the release I think is very soon here.
Yes. In fact, it's they're being palletized and being ready to get out as we speak. So we have quite a few in the building now. Most race cars are, the genesis of them is pretty typical across the board. Tracks get more grip, motors get more power. All of that equates to the necessity for more durability. They want it to be lighter, they want it to be more nimble, but it's got to be strong. And then it's got to be adjustable on top of all that. All of that is easy to make. But then you have to be able to manufacture it, and then it gets sticky. So it's just it's about what can we create? What can we create for realistic price points? We could make cars that were $2,000 that would be the greatest thing ever, but nobody would buy them. So it's just kind of this juggling act of making something that's competitive, but it's also realistic. And I think the B74 pushes that envelope. It is very realistic, but it's also an incredibly tunable vehicle. It's quite strong. And it does check boxes I mentioned before. It's fast, it's nimble, and adjustable. So most race cars are dictated by you, the racer. What do you need? What do you want? Where's the grip going? What's the battery size that's hot right now? What's the hot motor? That dictates internal gearing and things like that. What's the arm sweep? What's the dog bone sweep? What's the diff height? We are splitting frog fur at this point.
Yeah.
It's definitely more difficult to refine these things at this point. The ball is pretty darn round.
It is. So, getting into this car release, you think this is something that's, you said they're on pallets, they're ready to ship to distribution then? Is that what that means?
Yep, absolutely, yeah. Yeah, in fact, I believe, I saw some out there today when we were out for lunch and whatnot, getting palletized. So typically the way that it works is they go as far from us as possible, and then we work our way back so that ideally everybody would have them about the same time. It's a juggling thing, and it never pans out the way that you want it to, but there's always a plan, and then you kind of ride the tide.
Yeah.
But right now, everything's leaving out of the warehouse, so it's only a matter of time.
And so I don't know, Gotti, if you want to kind of look around, and I think we had some questions for Brad, kind of get a couple things going.
Yeah, these are all Element questions. Is Element planning on assembling a travel race team to attend events much like AE does, or is the goal of this brand aimed more towards non-racing events?
It's definitely aimed to non-racing events, but that's tough, and it's tough because of the way that it was worded. because there are definitely events, but they're more gatherings than they are a competitive moment.
Yeah.
Sure, there are trail truck competitions and stuff, but they are definitely air definitely has more of a gathering feel than it does a chasing checkered flag feel.
Okay.
So we would use our same style. We would absolutely use ambassadors and influencers and things like that. But I would be hard pressed to think that we would have a specific team of the Rivkins and the Evans and these type of guys that would go just to be successful and win. It would be more like we would send people out, or we would go out as individuals just to represent and to be part of it. So the same but different.
Okay.
And again, that's one of the reasons we went with a different brand, so that we can do it a different way.
Oh, go ahead, Jason. You can say something?
No, go ahead.
Oh, this question's from Eric. He asks, what will Element RC bring to the table that no other manufacturer has done yet?
Oof, good question. Well, I would hope a few different things. First and foremost would be 50-plus years of legacy. This is not. This might be a new brand, but the heart behind this brand has been doing it for over 5 decades. That experience helps us with molding and materials and machining and geometry, distribution, customer service, all the things that kind of tend to be hurdles for a new company. I would think that we have those firmly in place, as well as a global distribution network. It's also something that a typical new company would struggle with. We're very fortunate in that respect that we have that legacy behind us.
Yeah.
On top of the fact that we've made some things that we recognize holes in the market. For example, I cannot find, and I'm not aware of, a shock in the trail truck market that doesn't eventually pour all its oil out the bottom. The shocks, they go through an incredible amount of load and side load in these trail trucks, not like a race car. So you're constantly wallowing out the bottom, the O-ring area. So it's difficult to make a shock. We already know that from racing. Again, we've been doing it for over 5 decades. We've got the shock thing pretty well dialed in. So our shocks are butter, and I would expect to see them hanging on multiple vehicles besides ours. And then the transmission. The transmission is a big deal. Overdrive to the front axle is key. If you've ever driven a real car with a locked front diff, it doesn't turn. It doesn't turn at all. Wow. If you do it in a parking lot, it barks and hops, and it's terrible to do. It's not a very fun experience. Well, the overdrive helps with that. The reason it hops and jitters is because the outside tire can't turn faster than the inside tire. By overdriving the entire front axle, you kind of cheat that effect. So we can utilize now this 45 degrees of steering. It will almost turn within its wheelbase, which is pretty impressive. I'm not aware of another trail truck on the market that will even come close to that, not without modification. So, and then we made that transmission available to the public and be able to bolt in other vehicles, and we're going to sell that transmission for $51.
Damn.
So, I mean, I was quite shocked by the fact that by that price. I just saw it yesterday, I think, and I was shocked. That is incredibly cheap.
You're like, score.
Yeah, and I definitely expect this transmission to be in other vehicles besides ours. It will be an advantage in almost every vehicle. So yeah, that's kind of what we hope to bring, or what we plan to bring different.
That answers that. Will there be any licensed bodies from Element? Maybe something we haven't seen on the market yet.
You know, I'm not one to ever say never. But as I explained before, licensing comes with a burden. And we work for the customer, right? At the end of the day, if the customer demands a licensed body, then that's something we would definitely have to visit. But I would think that the customer would appreciate the fact that we've left that open for them. We haven't burdened them with the cost. as I said, most people go out and they buy something different. They personalize it, they paint it, they cut it, they do whatever they're going to do to it. So at this point, there is no plans for any licensing, but that doesn't mean it won't change tomorrow.
Yeah. With monster truck racing on the rise, are there any plans to adapt the Sendero platform or axles into a monster truck?
Well, we do have solid axles now, don't we? It wouldn't necessarily translate straight into a monster truck. Jason would be able to describe that more. It's quite a bit narrower than a monster truck and some stuff like that. But
it's not my question, by the way.
I understand.
That wasn't my question.
Yeah, it says Jason
but
Ruona.
again, we never say never. If monster trucks grows, as you stated, it is growing. I can see that as well. We absolutely try to keep our finger on all those pulses, and you never know.
That was from JR, whoever that is, initials.
Oh, okay.
Jason Ruona.
I'm actually trying to think who JR would be.
No, it's not from JR. I just made that up. Jason Ruona. Get it? Okay. Your initials are JR, Jason?
Oh, that's right.
They are. Okay. All right.
Let's see. This is a question from Chris. How do you convince a go-fast driver that crawling, while slow, offers something too?
Hand him the transmitter. It's the same thing that I would do to anybody who is in trail trucking and wants to know about racing. Come over here. Grab this radio.
Mm-hmm.
Give it a whirl. If it's for you, you'll know in the first two corners. If the trail trucking's for you, you're going to know around the first two bends. It was that way for all of us. I'm sure you guys can say the same. I think the best thing you can do is give the person the transmitter.
Yeah, try it out.
The cool thing about trail trucks, too, is you don't have to worry about giving them your polished two-wheel buggy and they're going to go out and they're going to destroy it. You can drive a trail truck like a complete beginner, and you're really not going to hurt them. It takes quite a bit to break them. You have to really try hard.
Sounds like something for me, Jason.
It does.
It really does.
It's got your name written all over it.
I destroyed RC cars.
These are pretty hard to destroy. We put them through hundreds and hundreds of miles in totally stock form.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. You guys still should have called me and tested it, but I really would have put it through the ringer. And you could
maybe for the next round, maybe for the future, we'll have to hit you up.
Yeah, you could have said Gotti Jr. tested. Everybody would have been like, "Oh wow, that must really hold up."
And it passed.
Like a diamond.
Yeah. Oh man.
The ultimate testimonial.
It is. It really is, especially if you see me race. All right. Chris also says, "Are you more about the scale appearance or the scale performance?"
I'd like to think that we're kind of a marriage of both. Both are important. Me as an individual, I'm more of a scale guy. But John Schultz, who works for us, and he does a lot of our R&D and did a lot of the testing on the vehicle, he's more of a comp guy. He wants the vehicle to perform. He doesn't care what it looks like. So when we pull together kind of both of that bits of information, I think we're somewhere in between. It will be an incredibly competitive vehicle, no doubt about it, just like anything else that would come out of AE. But we also make it look cool, too. So a little bit of both.
Yeah. He also has favorite scale body, either current production or dream body.
Ooh. Gosh. I am a Dodge guy. So a W150, like a legitimate W150 would be sweet, or like a Power Wagon SUV would be pretty cool. Most everything's been done.
Yeah.
There's a few things that haven't really been touched, but most things have been done. I would like to see probably. Gosh, that's tough. Like I said, most has been done. I would like to see more done with liveries and whatnot. Maybe harken back to some things that used to come off the lot. In the 70s and 80s, cars came off the lot with graphics and vinyl, and they were very kind of wild, I guess you could say. Stripes and things like that. Yeah. I'd like to see a little bit more of that. Stuff's a little more plain now. Trail truck guys tend to personalize this stuff anyway, so again, it's the cover of the book, and it's got to be nice, otherwise they never open the book. But once they're into the book and stuff like that, they're looking to change that cover.
I'm amazed.
Make it their own.
I'm amazed what those guys do.
Same here. I mean, we were at an event this week, and there was a guy. You lift up the hood, and the engine was there, and the crank pulley turned, and it turned to an alternator, which turned a power steering pump.
Oh my God!
And it was ridiculous. If you got down with your camera and you photographed it the right way, you'd probably be able to, bet people and take their money that it wasn't real.
Jeez,
it's pretty amazing.
Yeah, so let's talk about that side of the scale part. I know it's something we talk about here. Paul started saying that it's Barbies for men, and then I started seeing you guys saying full dollhouse.
Yeah,
so
that's what we have. What we say inside is when you're scaling out, you're going dollhouse.
Oh.
Yeah.
Wow.
But
yeah,
I like to think of it like the RC10 was, where it was blue chassis and green chassis and dyed arms, and it was personalized. Mm-hmm. That's a lot of what this is. The dollhouse thing is more like when in Spaceballs when he kicks open the door. No, I didn't see you playing with your dolls again. it's that kind of deal.
Oh man, I love that movie.
It's great, right?
Yes.
Knock next time. Knock.
I picture that being Jason at J Concepts.
It can be.
There are probably times where you could catch me walking my little figure over and opening the door and sitting in the seat too. So just make sure you knock.
Oh man.
I'm trying to remember the line that he was saying to himself while he's playing with the dolls.
Oh yeah.
Oh, he's saying you're something like you're the princess. Oh, your helmet, it's so big. Oh, right?
That is it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, man. So good. So good.
The personalization thing is I think, super important. For me, and I think it's like this for others, it gives us the ability to have these things that we couldn't necessarily have in real life.
Mm-hmm.
The crazy Jeep with all the bits and pieces that would set a person back $100,000 to buy in real life. They can have it, and they can have it 6 times over on a shelf in their room in the house. They can drive it like crazy and not worry about having to have it bring them back home safely. Just really expensive Hot Wheels that you can drive.
Mm-hmm. And
that's why where the dollhouse stuff comes from.
That's definitely what I see out there. There's a lot of that in the monster truck stuff that we have been doing, and there's definitely a little bit of a crossover with some of the stuff, and that's kind of why we've been doing it. It's something that we can still race and compete with, but then there's the scale side of it too. And then we have all the same people that want to have the real engine, the real interior, and it's funny. Like there's a lot of similarities.
Very much so. Very much so. We're all into music. Just some people like hip hop, some people like country, some people like this. I mean, at the end of the day, it's all music. So we're all into RC cars. We're just different. We want to drive them differently, personalize them differently.
Mm-hmm.
For me, I like all RC cars. The racing's a bit overwhelming for me. I truly can't be bothered anymore.
Yeah.
40 amp charges and just all that kind of stuff that's overwhelming. This is a breath of fresh air.
Yeah, there's a lot to that, and to me, I'm a fan of all, like you said, all the RC cars. There's some people that'll say, oh, well, I like racing stuff. And it's like, all right, well, all right. So, it's like, well, if you're racing, we got people that are, we're doing drag racing, we do drag race stuff, and we have monster truck stuff. And so I'm like, well, they're racing too. It's drag racing, monster truck racing. They're like, well, no, but this other racing. It's like, all right, well, so you actually you're saying that you just are into buggy racing. It's like,
right.
It's like these other guys are racing
competition
too.
in general. You're into driving a buggy.
Yeah, right. So
Yeah.
it's kind of funny how that all works. But then when they start thinking about it, then they're like, yeah, that might be what it is. So,
Yep.
yeah,
Absolutely.
it's interesting.
Yeah.
So what else? You got anything else there, Gotti?
This is from Mark Rogers. He asked, will Element be directing the Enduro's accessories range towards the super scale builder market, or will it be directed more towards the crawler competitor market?
It's going to be easier as a competitive racing company to develop the products that would be for the competitive side. We don't have as many modelers here to create little wild wheelies and jerry cans and high lift jacks and the kind of stuff that it's a different skill set. You know, developing a transmission versus developing an action figure is a completely different animal. So I would suspect that our stuff would be a little bit more on the comp side, but we will absolutely touch on the scale as well with, probably can't say with what, but we will.
I have to put,
the way I will word it is we plan to go all in. This is not something we want to tiptoe into. We will go in and invest just like we do with Team Associated.
Right.
And we'll have to have a part number for the mini Clifflet doll as the driver.
Absolutely, yeah. The part number will be 91.
Oh.
That was the year he won the world.
Yep.
91 worlds.
That's what we call him. That's what everybody calls him in the building. He's called 91.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so that's his nickname.
So we've gone away from Buggy Master. Now it's just 91.
91 is more of the new demo. Buggy Master is the old world guys.
Here's another question. Was Element birthed or adopted by Associated?
Yeah, birthed. That was completely generated in-house.
There you go.
We developed the name, the logo, the concept, the feel. It's all done by us.
That was from Associated fanboy Kyle Predmore.
Ah.
You know him.
Yes.
There you go.
We all know him.
Everybody
quite well.
on social media
Very good
knows
ambassador
him.
for the hobby.
He is.
We need more individuals that are that are that excited about the hobby.
Yep. And he just wants to congratulate you on the whole new brand.
Oh, well, thank you very much. I truly appreciate that. We appreciate that.
So, kind of a bizarre question, but you did a lot of photos, video that you're showing with the backgrounds and having the appropriate look. Where did you guys do a lot of the? I guess. Well, first of all, some of the test driving, but then into the photography and the videos and kind of setting the stage. I guess you could say.
Again, that's kind of what I had been doing with my own Instagram on the side is testing those waters and kind of seeing what people liked and what was shared more and what was liked more. And you could start to get a feel for what people want. The box art was all shot, if I'm being totally honest, was shot in a drainage ditch that's just around the corner from Associated. 10 feet in either direction from where I'm shooting, you could probably find debris floating down the kind of drainage channel. For example, I don't know if you've ever seen the Trophy Rat box, but that is shot in the bushes. I'm laying on my belly next to a sprinkler head next to the building. It's all really kind of about perspective.
Right. Yeah, apparently.
The testing, most of the testing was done at Horseman Park, which is where Proline by the Fire just was. John Schultz, as I mentioned, did most of our testing and lives out that way. He's about 20 minutes away. That place is like sandpaper. It's brutal on tires. It's brutal on components.
Wow.
It has crevices and holes and things like that really push a vehicle to its limit. And that's where we did most of the testing. Some of the photos were big trees and things like that, and a little bit of the video we had done was shot in Big Bear. So that was shot up in our local mountains. And then, again, right behind us over here, there's a bridge that goes over, and there's a channel underneath it where they've cemented in rocks to kind of create a faux creek wall, I guess you could say. And we do a lot of our testing down there, too. It's basically a cement boulder field that's really grippy and aggressive and tears apart parts and rips mirrors off of cars and destroys Lexan. We did a lot of our testing down there too. Got a bag of broken stuff.
Wow.
Yeah. So I could show you some videos of some stuff. We no joke drove this thing off a cliff, drove it full speed into rocks, dropped it, kicked it, rolled it over, everything you could possibly imagine, dunked it in water, try to shake it free of any kind of weak links.
Did you?
We did quite well.
Did you douse it in gas and light it on fire?
I'm not quite sure it would survive that all that well.
All right, just checking.
But it might make for great photography. So maybe I'll have to revisit.
Yeah.
Right now, I've got nothing but sample vehicles and prototypes, so I'm not going to do it with those. Maybe we'll wait.
You said you drove it off a cliff. Did you drive it into cliff? Get the joke? Get it?
Yeah, I do, and I did, and I do believe that was the pun when we did it.
Gotcha.
Careful.
Yeah.
Don't fall off that cliff.
Hi-yo.
Yeah. Hey-o.
He's like, man, I've heard them all. I've heard them.
Yep. Dad jokes.
Yeah. All right, 91.
Yeah.
So today at lunch, in
okay,
fact, he cut his lunch short to go over to the Little Rock area and drive an enduro.
Oh, did he?
He and his son. Yep.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he drove for a while. So that's pretty cool.
What were you saying, Jason?
So I was just going to say, I think that's about the extent of the questions that we had from people asking online. But, anything you want to talk about as far as the future goes with Element, or what people should maybe keep an eye out for, or maybe also give a shout out to the different pages that people should either like or follow or keep up to date?
Well, I like the discovery part of it. So I'd like the people to just peruse and discover. I can tell you for sure that we have a long list of plans for this vehicle. We have looked out into 2021. We know what we're going to do. We know where we're going to go. We know what we're going to make, and we know how we're going to make it. As I said, this is not something we're going to tiptoe into. We're going all in, just like we would Team Associated. So expect to see quite a bit from us. As far as our influencer team and things like that, those guys have done an incredible job. You want to take a look at, if listeners want to take a look at this stuff and view the trail truck market possibly for the first time, Harley Designs, the Scale Builders Guild, RC Driver Online, those are great platforms to go and check. Hemi Storm from Europe, he's a great trail truck ambassador and has some really entertaining videos, super fun to watch.
Yeah, that's the YouTube. That's the one I watched. Yep, that was really good.
Yeah, he's super fun, great guy, and again, like I said, a great ambassador for the hobby.
Yeah.
And then keep your eye on us at elementrc.com, element_RC on Instagram, and elementrc on Facebook. We have very, very exciting stuff coming. I've been here for 19 years. I've never been more excited than I am right now.
That's pretty impressive.
Yeah. But again, I'm more of a trail truck guy, so I have a vested interest.
Yeah.
We are also that far planned out with racing and stuff as well too. So
yeah,
just because we've got that kind of effort going into Element does not by any means mean that we rest on our laurels with Team Associated. It's a different group. It doesn't take away from manufacturing time or R&D time or anything like that. So it won't be detrimental to the race program. I got to imagine some people would think, oh, well, by doing this, what do you leave behind? Nothing.
I like it. I'm a fan. I was waiting to see this release from you guys, and I definitely been following and enjoying the content, and seeing the little Reedy updates too with the running some brushed motors again.
Right?
Yeah. Wow.
You should have seen Rick's face when we went in and asked him to order brushed motors. He was like, "Are you serious?" Yeah, these trail truck guys, we run brushed motors. He was like, he asked again, "Are you serious?" Yes, we are. Does that mean we need to get tom lathes and brushes and springs again? Yes,
that is another.
Wow.
That is a question, I guess, right?
Yes, yeah. The good thing about these brushed motors and these trail trucks is they'll go 100 hours and not need a rebuild. It's not like you got to cut it every run. It's not.
You're basically like you're ready for almost a new motor by then anyway.
Exactly. You can run the brushes almost down to the shunt.
Wow.
And it still runs.
That's cool.
Yeah.
You know what's good, Gotti, is your questions about brushes and spring combo. That becomes relevant again.
Yeah, it does. Wow. Sure does.
Yep. All that stuff comes back around.
It's amazing.
You're going to be fishing through your box looking for comm drops.
I actually already ordered 2 of the 17 singles for my sport mod monster truck, because that's a class they run because it's a budget side. So
very cool.
And that the brush stuff now is really inexpensive, right?
It's very inexpensive. But you know what's weird is it's not as easy to find as you would think. Since most people have gone brushless, manufacturing of brushed motors isn't as prevalent.
Yeah.
So
you're like, wait a second, we can't get rid of this reedy balancing thing. We might have to balance our scale.
We have that old balancer here. I got it up in the warehouse right here. We get that thing out and turn on the tungsten desk lamp, knock the dust off that thing, and start balancing some armatures.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, better hold on to that.
So if, that's pretty much what I have, and if Brad wants to give any
shout outs,
maybe shout outs to your team there as far as the associated design
I would definitely like to there. Yeah, I would definitely like to give a shout to what I refer to as our core 4. That's our element staff here. Nothing that's done in this building is done by an individual. We are AE is not a marketing ploy or gimmick of any kind. It is true. This is how we are. This is a family. We do everything together. But when it comes to element, there was 4 individuals that really made it happen. It would be Aaron Lane, who designed the truck, John Schultz, who did all of the testing, demo, pulling together the demographic, and bringing to the table the knowledge of the segment, and Dave Palacios, who's our graphics guy, who designed the logo, the box, the feel, the apparel, and really made it look cool. And then me, who just happens to be the guy that kind of puppeteers it all, I guess. I don't do much. I just make sure that the guys who are really good at what they do stay on task.
Yeah.
I'm very blessed to have a good team around us. And, look forward to showing more stuff. Very, very excited with what we have coming. I would like to uncork it all right here, right now, but I can't.
Oh.
So you'll have to wait.
All right. Well, we'll all wait then. And excited for sure. Excited for you guys, and still a team associated driver on this side, and definitely a loyalist, and looking forward to getting one of these trucks myself. And we're going to do some events this year, and definitely be a part of this growing segment.
Fantastic. Yeah, I saw that you signed up as a sponsor for K&K.
Mm-hmm. Yep, that's right.
Yep. We will be there. So
we actually have a guy that's traveling from here to go there, because that happens to be the same weekend as the Horizon Fest.
Yep, half of our staff is going to Horizon, half of it's going to K&K. Yeah,
so we got we're doing 3 things that weekend, and we're also that split up. So we got we got some guys going to Horizon, we got a guy going to K&K, and we got 2 guys going to the AMS 10.0 in Alabama. So it's going to be an interesting weekend on social media.
Oh, the race reports on Monday are going to be plentiful.
Good Lord.
Oh, yeah. And I know you like it. I'm sure you like it when they start with, well, this one was in the books.
Of course.
Yeah, that's my favorite.
Yeah.
You're like, oh boy, pop that popcorn. This is going to be a good one.
It's in the books. So, all right. Well, we'll let you go, and appreciate everything. And we're looking forward to seeing everything that you guys have. And just best of luck, and we'll see you soon.
Awesome. Thank you very much for the opportunity. I really appreciate it, guys. It was nice talking to you.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Brad. And if there's anything you can do for me, let me know. I appreciate it.
The next time I need somebody to check durability, I'll dial your number.
Absolutely. I'll help you out.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks a lot. Thanks for being on the show. And hopefully we'll get you on sooner than later.
Absolutely.
All right, Brad.
Thanks, fellas.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.
Brad Geck.
I would say, out of all the interviews that we've done, probably him and Frank Root, to me, have sold the product.
Oh, yeah.
I think the best.
Yep.
I think we had Frank on a couple times. Man, he sold that. I can't remember that 22. I don't remember if it was the 3.0 or which one it was. Man, he sold that thing. And I had people tell me they bought it because they heard Frank talk about it, and he was passionately in love with that car.
Yep.
And it worked. And yeah.
And hopefully do the same for Element. So.
Yeah. I mean, you can see that this is not just throwing something against a wall to see if it sticks. If you're going to do something like this, you have to go all in. And he said that several times. And I'm excited because this is a market that really Axial kind of started.
Mm-hmm.
I suppose you could say there's some others that were involved, but this was really Axial's market. They kind of started it. They cultivated it, and a lot of people jumped into it. It's probably the biggest segment in RC at the surface at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
And Traxxas is in it now. And it had to be very, very difficult in a way to. I could see them trying to sell the Team Associated guys on getting on board with this, because it's like when I'm talking to people about the RC monster trucks, and you can kind of see them rolling their eyes in their head, even though they're not, but you can kind of see it. And I'm pretty familiar with what he's up against, or what he was probably up against there. And but when you go to these different things and you see other people that are passionate about something else, there is a lot of a breath of fresh air in that. And I'm sure that's what they're seeing, and there's some rejuvenation that goes on. Because no matter how long you're in something, it gets kind of old.
Mm-hmm.
And the way that the industry is now, the way the racing is now, you need a refresher. And you could see that there's certain people that like RC cars, and they always will, but they come and go because something's burnt them out of it. So I think right now, somebody invited me to like their page. Yeah, I think right now there's people getting into this because they like RC cars, but the racing side kind of burned them out a little bit.
Yeah.
And it's fun for them, and we have some of those guys here at our shop, and they obviously have quite a few of them at Associated also. And this is what it takes to keep all the RC going, and Because we're going to see racers from this too. That's going to go back and forth. So it's exciting to see, and I'm looking forward to doing some more of it. Like I was saying maybe a couple shows ago, I kind of made it a point this year. I want to do some different things. Not only, we've done the monster truck stuff. I want to do some oval, some dirt oval, and I want to do some drag racing and some scale trucks this year. That's kind of my goal, is to work through these different things and experience them firsthand, and meet some new people and try to drag people back and forth between the different segments.
Well, that was awesome. Big thanks to Brad being on the show, and good luck to the whole associated crew on that Element RC. And that's like a little map pin there for their logo, Jason.
That's what we discussed, right?
Yeah.
Pin it to win it. Should we give them that?
Pin it to win it.
They already got your journey is what is it? What's their tagline? God, why can't I? Journey starts here, I think is what it is. Let me see. Your journey starts here. Yes, I got it.
Good job.
RC is. I went to a hobby shop today because I needed to get some paint for the guys. We're going to debut a couple bodies this weekend at the Oval Race. We got the Spring Dirt Oval Nationals going on.
Oh, this weekend?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It's going to be in Omaha. We're leaving on Friday morning.
Omaha.
So.
Peyton Manning.
But I had to go get some paint, and it's tough because when you're into this stuff,
mm-hmm.
I mean, you kind of like it all. I see things, and I'm like, you shop online, and it's like you click on stuff, and you're thinking, man, do I need this? I kind of like this.
Yeah. Buy.
Man, lately, God, I've been so terrible on eBay buying stuff. God, I don't know. It's just the combination between it being so easy.
Yeah.
You're a couple clicks away from a buy it now on something. God, it's horrible.
Spending some cash.
And it's not like, you're spending like $400 or $500 every time. You're just, you're nickel and diming it. You're like, ooh, what's this? I could get this for my. I buy RC stuff on there.
Mm-hmm.
I buy vintage stuff and current stuff, parts for vehicles, that we need, and yeah, it's pretty crazy. Buy some vintage monster truck stuff. You see a photo. It's like, whoa, a 1990 photo of Bigfoot. It's like, man, I gotta have that. You get it, and you look at it, and you're like, okay, I'll put this in my closet. I bought a shirt the other day, and I was all happy. I was like, man, this is cool. I've never seen this before. It's a snakebite T-shirt I saw on eBay. I'm thinking, man, I've never seen this before. I gotta have this. It was like $30,
Uh-huh.
I buy it, and I sent it to one of the guys from Bigfoot. I'm like, man, check out what I just got on eBay. And the guy's like, I don't recognize that. That might be fake. I'm like, oh.
What?
Yeah.
Oh.
So we'll see what happens when it comes in. He's like, I'm going to ask around the shop and
see if it's legit.
Yeah, he's like, I'm going to check around with people and see if they've seen this before. And then of course, then you're examining the photos even closely, and you're just like, damn, is this? And you go back and look, and
Well, you got it on eBay, right?
Yeah.
We'll see if it's authentic and see if you put 100% authentic in the listing. If not, give them a bad feedback rating. If it's not real.
Yeah. I don't think I've ever given anybody a bad feedback for some reason. I don't know why.
Even if they screwed you over.
I bought something from somebody. The one that pissed me off the most was I bought a RC10T from a guy on eBay. And I will say that I didn't check it over super carefully in the photos. It looked good, but then when I got it, I'm looking at it and I'm like, I'm just like, the guy painted the bottom of the chassis.
Ugh.
And you can see where, it was like masked and then painted, and I'm just like, I think it's the only one I've ever complained about. I messaged the guy and I was like, the chassis is painted.
He's like,
and it was like, yeah, it's like so. And there was other things wrong with it besides that. That was just kind of annoying.
Did you give him bad feedback? Negative feedback?
I don't think I did. I don't think I did. I just told other people not to buy from him.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I've actually been buying some stuff, for monster trucks on eBay for the RC stuff, because it's like, the truck we're using has a lot of axial parts, so got to go on and buy some things for that.
Yeah,
keep it up to date. Like I said, I just got some of those new Reedy motors for it. So.
All right, so you're heading. You said this weekend you're going to Dirt Oval race.
Yep, a Spring Dirt Oval Nationals over in Omaha, Nebraska, and definitely happy to go over and do this. We're going to try to debut some new stuff, show off a few things. It's a first event for us of this type. It's definitely going to be a learning experience. We don't really know what to expect in terms of, turnout, racer participation, which classes. So we're kind of throwing or doing a couple new things here to see how it goes. But it's kind of exciting because it's going to be a little bit different. And so Thomas and I will be there doing that. So excited about seeing how this will work out. And then, like he said, we got a big range of events coming up in June. We'll show here. We got, like I said, Spring Dirt Oval Nationals. Fred's at Digger's Dungeon this weekend. That's a RC monster truck event.
Oh, that's this
Poplar
weekend?
Branch. Yep.
Oh, man. You didn't send me down to that? I could have went and visit my brother. Lives right down the road.
No. Oh, another big thing. IFMAR World's warm-up this weekend in Slovakia.
What? At the X-ray facility?
Yeah. Yep, that's right.
So who we sending there?
Well, we got Spencer's going to be and Una Hatanen will kind of be our main drivers there.
Okay.
So, Worlds is a controlled tire, so the rear is controlled on both classes. Four-wheel front is controlled. Two-wheel front tire is open, so we send some front tires for testing there. And looking forward to see. Spencer says he's going to send us some photos as the weekend's going on, so I hope he does, so we can. I'm interested to see how it goes.
Oh, that's cool.
And then we got Fred over there at the dungeon. And Thomas and I will be... God, we just have so much stuff going on right now. Fred at the dungeon, Spencer, Una, World's Warm-Up, Spring Dirt Oval Championships, Thomas and I will be at. And then the very next weekend, Thomas is going to go to the Manufacturers Cup in Chico, California, which is a 1/8 scale race at A-Main's facility. Fred and I will be at the Bigfoot Open House in Pacific, Missouri.
Oh wow, that's
which is a race and a display for us.
Mm-hmm.
And then coming back, we'll be going to the HCP convention, which is Horizon's certified partner convention in Champaign, Illinois. Then we're going to go, that's set up in a hotel room, kind of, not Chicago show big, but that's the type of thing it is. And then from there, we're going to go set up out at their field. I forget what they call it, something field, where they're actually having Horizon Fest, which is a big RC event out there. And then Paul and Thomas will be at AMS 10.0 in Alabama. And Rich will be at that K&K event in New York. Actually, Ohio, sorry. So lots of stuff going on.
And that's it. So we will catch you on the next episode. And we'll check on Jason, see how he did over in his dirt oval at Omaha.
That's right. I'll send you guys some pictures tonight of what we're working on.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right. Dirt oval, Jason. And Jason was on a Dirt Oval podcast.
Yeah, it was several months ago.
Yeah. So catch him over there. I forget the name of the podcast. I'm sorry, guys. But Dirt Oval something.
I think it's actually the RC Dirt Oval podcast.
There you go. Yeah.
I think it is.
All right.
And recently did a little bit with Justin Doyle, too, on his. We talked about some truck tire stuff. So it was pretty specific to a truck tire, which was fun.
Oh, and you had the INS race over at Tacoma, Washington, right?
Yep.
And,
Thomas just got back from there.
Yeah, and Justin Doyle on the Race City podcast is going to be going in depth with that. Is Thomas on that episode then?
That's right. Yeah. Thomas is going to talk to him about that event. So
okay, so
a lot of cool things happened there. Mayfield had another big weekend, and let him fill in the blanks. But yeah, that was good.
Yeah, so go if you don't subscribe to Race City RC podcast yet, head over there. Justin Doyle. I kind of like this. I'm going to push a lot of the race reports on Justin Doyle. So
he's like the INS is in the books.
Yeah. So again, Race City RC podcast. Justin Doyle just started that baby up not too long ago, and he's going to be there with Thomas talking about INS and other guests. You said Jason was on. You were on there, right?
Yeah, we talked about the Ellipse truck tire not long ago. That's a new
Yep.
stadium truck tire.
Paul Wynn was on there.
Yeah.
Yep. So.
Yeah, he talked about the buggy version and aqua compounds. So yeah, a lot of good technical information recently going on there.
Cool. Race City podcast. Head over there. Give him a sub. Tell him Gotti sent you.
Yeah, sub.
Yeah, sub. jconcepts.net. You know the drill, guys, and you already do it. But tell a friend. Get somebody hooked on RC and then tell them to buy JConcept stuff. That's how it goes, right?
Yeah, at least come see us on the website or social media.
Yeah. Yep. Spread that around.
Pop in.
And get our decals, all that good stuff. You guys know the drill here. Carpies.com, boomrc.net.
I'm sure Stick It One does them too. They do them for me.
Stick It One. Yep. You could drop down. They got a nice little menu there. Rip is in there. Take a picture of the logo on your car. Send it to us. Maybe we'll hook you up with something. And go visit our good friend Paul Lemieux at teamgravityrc.com. Thanks for joining us, everybody. Bye. Bye, Jason.
See ya.